Well-known road safety campaigner Neil Gregg says that the Scottish Government's proposal to cut the single carriageway speed limit from 60 miles an hour to 50 miles per hour is a cheap gimmick which would do little to reduce death and injury. His words, not mine. What this would do is increase journey times and costs for many rural road users, including those who use key routes such as the A9 and A96. So instead of going down this route, why don't the Scottish Government improve road safety by finally delivering on its promise to fully dual both the A9 and A96?
First Minister.
So the government remains committed to the dualling of the A9 and the A96 and are taking.
Let us hear the First Minister.
And are taking the practical steps to advance those projects. In relation to the questions on road speed, there is a consultation underway. The reason why we're having a consultation is that there are different opinions about how best to tackle this particular issue, because I am regularly pressed, as is the Transport Secretary, on the number of fatalities and accidents on our roads. And we would be neglecting our duty if we do not examine what are the possible options to address that situation. So I hear the comments that Mr. Fraser puts on the record from an individual that I know well and who I know contributes on this subject significantly. But we have to engage, if members of Parliament want us to address the issue of fatalities on our roads, we have to explore what are the options to do that. And that's what the government is doing.
Well, so yeah, I'm a bit behind in terms of parliamentary BS, but this thing came to my attention while I was at work the other day. And well, the video in question is from my channel from a couple of months ago, 3 months to be precise, but regardless. So there's been a consultation that's being conducted in Scotland to sort of decipher whether or not to turn 60 mile per hour roads, motorways, etc., to 50 mile per hour. And it's been met with a lot of backlash. And I will get to the sort of subsequent backlash in just a second as far as the news is concerned. But I just want to bring people's attention to this first and foremost, because the emphasis is on road safety. Certain things are somewhat self-explanatory, but the Scottish Government have got a very, very, very clever way of sort of pretending or hiding behind the experts and the so-called fucking evidence, despite, as I said, certain things being self-explanatory. Okay, reducing speed limits, oh, good one. Yeah, that might reduce deaths and collisions, but that's not the core crux of the issue as far as specific roads in particular in Scotland are concerned, such as the A9 and the A96, but not limited to. So Wikipedia, you don't need to go to Wikipedia, but we're just going to stick to Wikipedia for all that, as it says there, killer A9. And as is highlighted in purple here, the 112-mile section running between Perth and Inverness changes from a dual carriageway into a single carriageway, swapping between them frequently, resulting in motorists driving at excessive speeds to overtake lines of slower-moving vehicles before the dual carriageway ends, which is the primary cause of many road traffic accidents. Dangerous overtaking manoeuvres on long single carriageway stretches off the road are also contributing factors, as are the non-graded separate junctions along the northern sections where drivers make a right turn across opposing traffic flows. Then it goes on to talk about deer strikes. Right, then we just come down just to this bit here. It's a pretty small page. As of July 2023, 335 people had been killed on the Perth-Inverness stretch of the road since 1979. And then it goes on to say just down here that in June 2024, Transport Scotland figures reported that along single carriageways on the A9, there were 199 injuries and 15 deaths compared to 114 injuries and 7 deaths on dual carriageways, highlighting a double fatality rate for the undual sections of said road. Okay, we could also come to this as well. This is again Wikipedia, but A9 dueling project, right? In July 2013, the Rainbow Unicorn government announced a plan to install average speed cameras on the A9 between Perth and Inverness. This has been undertaken with an aim to reduce accidents and fatalities on the road and was the second permanent average speed camera scheme in Scotland. Simultaneously, an increased speed limit for heavy goods vehicles from 40 mile per hour to 50 mile per hour was introduced to mitigate driver frustration. Driver frustration. There seems to be a bit of an emphasis on that. Or we could also come to this on a side note, separate note. This is from a9dueling.sculpt, right? Okay, the main objectives of A9 dueling were supposedly improve operational performance of the A9 by reducing journey times, improve safety for motorized and non-motorized users by reducing accident severity and reducing driver stress, right? Okay. There's a bit of an emphasis here on frustration, stress, impatience, etc., which does indeed lead me to this. So this is from the 6th of March. We're now on the 7th. Daily Record. The STV also covered this. So I might as well just show that tab as well. Thousands respond to proposals to cut single carriageway speed limit to 50 miles per hour. But we'll stick to the Daily Record one just because that's the one I was reading through earlier on. So it goes on to say here that more than 19,000 Scots have responded to a Rainbow Unicorn government plan to slash the national speed limit on single carriageways from 60 miles per hour to 50 miles per hour, with Transport Scotland saying it was the biggest response to any consultation it has ever had amid controversy over the proposals. The Scottish Government, Rainbow Unicorn, says the measures will improve road safety and reduce deaths, but critics have blasted them as ludicrous and a nanny state. Okay, but bear in mind, of course, that they introduced, for example, speed cameras, as the Wikipedia page alluded to, as far back as 2013 onwards. That was their plan in 2013, with the aim of reducing fatalities and accidents, but yet these accidents and fatalities have still continue to occur despite the fact they have speed cameras. Okay. You know, there is that. There is that, you know. Transport Secretary Fiona Hislop said the volume of responses made it clear that these proposals are of great importance to the public. Oh, I mean, this is the patronising shit, as per usual. I mean, some things are self-explanatory. Yes, it does not take a rocket scientist to fucking point out that reducing speed limits, whether legally speaking or otherwise, may have an impact on the amount of people who end up in collisions, but it is not taking into consideration most of the other alternative contributing factors that play into collisions and or fatalities. However, Fiona Hislop is acknowledging that people are pissed off. Proverbial patronising shite as per. The National Speed Management Review is considering whether the national speed limit on single carriageway roads should be cut from 60 miles per hour to 50 miles per hour for cars. And if you think that there is enough frustration at present with long fucking tracks in the A9 in this particular instance, if you think there is frustration that boils up with people that leads to dangerous overtakes when the speed limit is 60, what the fuck do you think is going to occur if it was to be reduced to 50? But we're going to get to the absolute joke of all of this in just a second, as Fiona Hislop is quoted at the bottom of said article, right? Right. Then they go on to say they're also considering increasing the speed limit for HGVs weighing 7.5 tons and over from 40 to 50 in single carriageways. That might very well cheer up people that have to drive these vehicles, but that doesn't really make much of a difference to the average user on said road. However, then says it would also raise it from 50 miles per hour to 60 miles per hour on dual carriageways. Okay, right? It comes, and this is what I'm talking about, this is fucking nonsense. It comes after evidence suggested that changes could significantly cut the number of serious collisions on Scottish roads. What evidence? What evidence? This is self-explanatory shit where you can type into a computer that reducing speed limits could lead to a reduction in collisions, but it does not take into account frustration, stress, right? Tourism is another one, by the way, that they don't really mention. But I mean, the amount of people who have ended up in collisions over the past decade or so where there's been a tourist involved, hey ho. But regardless, you don't need evidence. But this is what they do. They sort of backtrack and they hide behind the evidence and the experts and the stakeholders. Goislop said all responses to the consultation would be carefully assessed, but insisted the speed limit cap was part of a vital suite of measures to make Scotland's roads safer. Okay, so their intention is to allegedly make the roads safer, right? And as we'll come down to just here, right? Yes, just ever so. We'll get past all the patronising bullshit. This bit here. Over the coming months, Transport Scotland will carefully assess all the feedback before the findings and next steps are published later this year. I want to be clear that road safety remains an absolute priority for the Scottish Government, and we are fully committed to working towards our ambitious goal of making Scotland's roads the safest in the world by 2030. So if you're, let's just take them at face value here. So if the Scottish Government's intention is to make Scotland's roads the safest in the world by 2030, then would it really matter if 19,000 or 96,000 people participated in a consultation and provided backlash and were opposed to the plans to reduce the speed limits on motorways to 50 miles per hour? Would that fucking matter? Because that would go against the concept and the agenda of making the roads safer in the first place. So again, it's patronizing shit to acknowledge that they are taking your BS into account, but they have no intention of listening to you. Because if you don't sing from their fucking hymn sheet, then you're not worth listening to, which really does just bring us full circle. Everything's about safety. Everything's about listening to the stakeholders. And this is the laugh of the matter. For anybody who frequents the A9 or any other motorway similar in Scotland, trust me, it gets frustrating. This is just another way of trying to piss off road users, for lack of better terminology, right? Duel the fucking A9 like you promised way back in, 2007? And let's see how many deaths occur post-dueling. But until such a time, fuck off.